championship
That's right.
stream here for these brothers. That is awesome to see both the Krekelers here
Yep.
getting ready.
Andrew on the left and Zakary on the right. Of course, you mentioned before how we get to see some new decks, which we will be seeing here. Zakary is bringing that Kyurem V Max, kind of a card that I feel like initially was a little overlooked whenever the set first got revealed. The translations came over from Japan. Players weren't super hype on the Kyurem V Max, but as people got their hands on the cards, started testing a little bit, it has definitely proven to be extremely solid. Its Max Frost can deal so much damage. Over on the other side, Andrew not playing a new deck, but bringing back an old favorite. Something that used to be extremely good, has not seen play in quite a while. It is going to be that Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX.
Oh, that's going to be great. Yeah, see, this is what also happens with a new format. You know, a deck we haven't seen in so long suddenly kind of fits the meta a little bit more with some updated cards, and you just find yourself in a different position against these newer decks potentially. So we're going to be seeing a long-lasting deck here, I guess, being brought back to the stage against a new deck, Kyurem VMAX, which is going to be so fun. So there's our handshake between our brothers here, and we are starting off this match.
And starting it off pretty excellently, looks like Zach is going first and slams it down right away.
Let's
Battle
go.
VIP pass.
Yes, we saw this in our matches before, and we are seeing it again here in this Kyurem VMAX, of course. It is a Palkia deck. It's a different variation of a Palkia deck. So you have two different attackers here. You can go in with Palkia, or you can go in with Kyurem. And of course, Zachary's starting with Kyurem here, and then that Battle VIP pass is going to be able to search out two more Pokemon to bench right away. Oranguru, oh, this is one of my favorite cards here, Oranguru. Again, seeing resurgence of this card as well with that Primate Wisdom ability. Once during your turn, you may switch a card from your hand with the top of your deck. So getting you that draw support and also allowing you to put an energy on top of your deck, which then gets searched out again, I guess, by that Kyurem VMAX and attached to the board, which is huge, which is where we're going to see this Oranguru come into play.
And another good potential combo here with the Rotom Phone. Zakary gets to look at the top 5 cards, pick one, leave it on top, and then can just Primate Wisdom for that card here on turn 1. He can't get his Kyurem VMAX in play, can't evolve quite yet, so won't quite be able to be using that Glaciated World, but he can grab, I believe, the Capacious Bucket here off of the top, assuming that's what he wants right away with the Primate Wisdom.
Yeah, absolutely. We see that Rotom Phone being played in a lot of Mew lists because they are able to draw off of those Fusion Strike Genesects, but Oranguru is also able to draw a card, which is what we're going to see, that Capacious Bucket being swapped there and then going into the deck with it to draw out 2 Water Energy for Zakary as well. Of course, that Radiant Greninja is also on the bench here, so we could see the discard of one of those Water Energy to draw into 2 more cards. Just getting a nice little setup here for Zakary. Of course, these are brothers playing against each other, so I'm pretty sure they're well aware of what each other's probably playing.
Yeah, I wonder if these guys have ever played before. They've definitely got hundreds and hundreds of games of Pokemon against each other, if not more than that, and so they definitely are aware of what the other one has brought to this event. Zakary does go with the concealed cards, finds another Kyurem. Something to note, though, Zakary, it's very important in this deck to have access to your Origin Form Palkia V-Star, but he's only playing a 1/1 line, and he's prized the 1 copy of Origin Form Palkia V. He's going to need to find the Hisuian Heavy Ball next turn if he wants to start establishing that.
Wow, yeah, that is definitely huge. And now we're over to Andrew's side with the Fog Crystal. Ooh, it's nice seeing some Psychic cards out here. Fog Crystal either allowing you to search out a basic Psychic Pokemon or a basic Psychic Energy of your choice. So searching through the deck, making sure that Andrew knows all of their prize cards and also just deciding what to go with here. Espeon V and VMAX is in this deck list for Andrew, and starting with the Espeon V, not as prevalent in this matchup, but unfortunately, you don't always get to choose what Pokemon you start if there's only one in hand. That's what you're starting with.
Yep, that's what you got. That's what Andrew has had to roll with. Definitely a tech we've seen pop up in a couple of different Arceus decks, which Andrew is pairing the Shadow Rider here with the Arceus V-Star, the ever powerful V-Star Pokemon we've seen so much of. It's just a great answer to the Sableye from the Lost Zone engine decks that have been so popular. Oh, and this hand from Andrew is pretty pretty bad, actually. Just has to attach
Wow.
to the Espeon. Does get a solid amount of damage in play with this Zen shot, dealing 60 damage with the Choice Belt, but not able to establish an Arceus V and didn't even play a supporter this turn.
Oh my goodness. There we go. So now we're back over on Zachary's side after that interesting start there for Andrew. Could potentially be pretty brutal going forward. Starting off with a quick ball here for Zakary. So we are going to see the discard and then searching out of a basic Pokemon for Zakary. We already see those two Kyurem Vs down. And as you said, Chip, the Palkias are in the prize cards, the Palkia Vs. So I think realizing that now potentially for Zakary is still able to search out a different basic Pokemon. I know that, oh, yep, there is 2 Oranguru in this list for Zakary, so we could potentially see double Orangarus down.
I think Zakary this turn could potentially go for the Melanie potentially and get an energy accelerated to the active. It does appear, though, we will see Lumineon grab the Irida with that Luminous Sign ability, searching out a water Pokemon and an item card. The item card being Capacious Bucket, it seems, and the Kyurem VMAX.
Here we go.
Already powered up, or soon to be be up, we should say.
Yes, absolutely. So that Kyurem VMAX coming out here with the and then that Capacious Bucket, searching out those 2 water energies. So we are going to see some switching around of cards, of course, once that Kyurem VMAX comes out. The ability Glaciated World allows you to discard the top card of your deck, and then if that card is an energy card, you get to attach it to anything on your board.
Yes.
So that is definitely very powerful of an ability. And that is exactly what we are seeing here right now. So the energy going on to that Kyurem VMAX that is inactive. And then, of course, the second one coming down here on the bench, another Kyurem VMAX being evolved into from Zakary. That attachment for turn, that makes 3 water energy on that active Kyurem VMAX.
220 here.
Here we go. So how this move works, there's 120 at base, and then for each water energy that you discard, you don't have to, of course. You may do this. You do a 50 additional damage there. So that is a very powerful move on that Kyurem VMAX. As we just saw, it took that knockout.
And a huge top deck from Andrew, able to find the Professor's Research, can get bailed out of this slow start. But you got to wonder, is it already just a little too slow? And this hand is not amazing. He'll get to evolve into the active, use that Underworld Door ability to draw 2 more cards, undoubtedly searching for an Arceus V, and I don't see it. The Adventurer's Discovery would be nice, but he's already played Research this turn.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting. Both these decks do have their own energy acceleration there with abilities too, Chip. So that's kind of interesting, seeing a little bit of a mirror in that sense as well. We haven't read that Underworld Door in in a while there, so that is really cool to see.
And just a pass. That is really tough for Andrew, but the huge HP of Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX in the active spot will be pretty difficult for Zakary to deal with, especially since he does not have access to using Star Portal on Palkia V-Star.
Yes, Palkia V-Star is absent right now for Zakary, but we could potentially see other ways to accelerate energy to at least be able to knock potentially this turn, as we are going to see with that Primate Wisdom. Switching the card, and then you're able to place that energy back with that ability Glaciated World from the Kyurem VMAX. So that's exactly what we're going to see. And then the Melanie attaching that energy.
And finds another energy as well.
Discard there, and then drawing 3 cards into that other energy.
So Zakary needs 4 energy cards in order to swing for this one-hit KO. So he's got that available if he wants it, but maybe would be a little worried that you got to think about, am I discarding too much energy? Should I be fine taking a 2-hit KO? Am I at risk if I just go all in and discard all of my energy from play? Or is that putting you far enough ahead to where it's not going to matter? You've got enough time to build up another attacker.
Yeah, definitely. What is my recovery options?
Right.
And am I going to hurt myself by doing this move? But there is an energy retrieval for Zakary in deck, as long as it's not in the price card. So there is that option as far as energy recovery. But yeah, it's definitely going to be A difficult choice, I think, for Zakary, but also just taking the lead here is very tempting, I'm sure, as well on those prize cards. So let's see what else is in hand here from Zakary. Still a pretty decent hand size for Zakary working with. Attaching a Wash Energy for turn there. This is a very helpful card for certain matchups. Because it does allow you to avoid the effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon, but it also serves as just a water energy too.
And Zakary will take this KO, dealing 320 with the Max Frost, going to just one prize card remaining. Is Andrew able to find anything to bail him out? Adventurer's Discovery, not a bad start, but it feels like this is so far behind of where you could be.
Yeah, I mean, we're really seeing the power here from Kyurem VMAX, allowing you to just take these huge knockouts. I mean, that was 320 HP chip that we just saw taken down in a single knock here from Kyurem VMAX, which is huge. So huge. But Andrew trying to recover here with that Adventurer's Discovery, searching for up to 3 Pokemon V.
Yep. Yeah, Andrew's not going to be able to reach for a KO here. He would need 8 energies in play to get the KO with Max Geist, which isn't too hard to do if you've got a bunch of Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX in play, but he just does not have that available to him. It's going to have to be a 2-hit KO with this active Shadow Rider, hoping that his brother just cannot find the pieces to piece together just one final prize.
Yeah, definitely. We did see the ping there from that Galarian Zigzagoon onto the bench to Kyurem VMAX. We are seeing the attachment of the Choice Belt, adding 30 additional damage there for Andrew as well, but still not going to be enough to take down that huge Kyurem VMAX, I believe. And then we are going to see that Underworld Door ability attaching that energy onto that benched Shadow Rider Calyrex V, and then drawing into 2 more cards, and then benching the Gardevoir, Radiant Gardevoir, which I don't believe we've seen yet, Chip.
No, not quite yet, but this is another new card from the most recent expansion that is certainly having an impact. Players are choosing to play it for that Loving Veil ability, which makes your Pokemon take 20 less damage from your opponent's Pokemon V. So a great choice here for Andrew. It will make it much more difficult for Zakary to find the pieces to get the KO. Hisuian Heavy Ball comes down and is able to find that Luminion V out of the prize cards. Can access a supporter card next turn with the Luminous Sign potentially if he wants to. But Andrew here is really playing from pretty far behind. It's a huge uphill battle for him to fight back in this game.
Definitely. I think from the very beginning, unfortunately, starting with that Espeon V, it was just kind of a bad omen, I guess, unfortunately for Andrew. And going back over to Zakary after that Max Geist, that is just not going to do enough damage to knock out that extremely beefy Kyurem VMAX. And we are back over to Zakary to see if we can see that recovery in action here from Zakary to be able to get another hit here. Starting off with the Capacious Bucket, that is one way to start for sure. Searching out 2 more water energy as long as they are in the deck. We did see that energy retrieval in the deck as well. There is only, I think, 1 water energy left in the deck, so we are going to have to see some sort of recovery of those energies. There is Training Court in play here right now for Zakary, so that is an option as well. And then, of course, with that Kyurem VMAX, and there is 2 in play, you can accelerate that energy, but there is only 1 Oranguru, so.
This is going to be tough for Zakary to find a knockout on this active. He could potentially close out the game with the boss's orders onto the Galarian Zigzagoon, but needs to accelerate all the energies in play. He's got it lined up to get the 3 energies onto a Kyurem through the double ability. I believe he took the Oranguru off the prizes last turn, so he can go for the double Primate Wisdom, the double Glaciated World in order to accelerate those energies.
Yeah, definitely. We are searching with the Ultra Ball right now. There was 2 Training Courts discarded to that Ultra Ball, and just searching through the deck and then failing the search there. Andrew cutting, and now we are looking back at the hand again. Like Chip was saying, we could see double Oranguru here, but we're going to see that first Primate Wisdom, putting that energy onto the top of the deck, allowing Kyurem VMAX to just pull it right back out again and put it onto the board.
Yep. The combo is so good.
So good.
And Zakary will actually attach to the bench here. So if he's got access to a switching card, in addition to ways to get 4 energies on to this Kyurem, he would be able to take the knockout on the active, but It's going to be a little bit more to search for. There is Boss's Orders. That is a piece that could help him get there potentially. Palkia does come down, so we might be looking for a win on the next turn from Zakary's side, which is totally fine. He's so far ahead, being at just one prize card remaining. He doesn't have to push to win this turn. He can just try to set his board up to make sure he can withstand anything that Andrew might throw at him. I
think that's probably what we're going to see, because I don't see other options outside of that. The Palkia V did hit the bench there. We're seeing an Ultra Ball discarding 2 more cards, that Rangaroo going into the discard pile there. And we did see the Radiant Greninja use that second energy that was in hand as well to draw into the cards. I think it's now being searched back out with the Training Court, I believe, here for Zakary. So just straight back into the hand, being manually attached for turn onto that Kyurem VMAX on the bench. And then we are going to see the pass over back to Andrew. So again, Andrew now playing still from that very back foot position here, but we could see maybe some recovery of this game here from Andrew.
It is entirely possible, as Andrew did just draw the Roxanne for turn, which is a massive card to hit, and it is a card that is extremely powerful against this Kyurem deck. It does not appreciate having such a low hand size. We actually see a double turbo energy going on to the Shadow Rider Calyrex V on the bench. It is possible to go for an Astral Barrage attack, spread 50 damage to a couple of Pokemon. I think he's just wanting to thin it out of the deck, though, so he doesn't draw it on the other end of this Roxanne, most likely.
That is definitely true. Roxanne coming in super strong here, and that is definitely needed this late in the game when your opponent is down to only 1 prize card left to be taken. So Zakary is going to be drawing 2 cards, while Andrew will be drawing 6, which is huge. Hopefully there's a good hand here for Andrew to play off of out of these 6 cards, and let's see what it is. 2 Ultra Balls, I think I saw in there.
Energy, and there's no energy in the discard pile. Andrew was definitely hoping to find a Psychic Energy here to use Underworld Door, try to draw some other cards on the other side of this Roxanne, and he just was unable to do so. And it looks like we will be seeing the retreat. Is it Astral Barrage time?
I think it might be. We did see the Training Court Psychic Energy being drawn back out of the discard, applied manually there, or sorry, not manually, through the Underworld Door ability, applied onto that benched Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX, drawing into 2 more cards. And now just looking at the board, yeah, that's what we're going to see.
That is huge. And this could be Andrew taking advantage of the fact that he knows what his brother's got in the list. His switching cards are very limited. 1 Air Balloon, 1 Escape Rope. The only ways to get this Pokemon out of the active. And Zakary's able to find the Irida. So we'll see if he can grab one of those switch options.
Yeah, there we go. We do see that Air Balloon. And there we go. There we have it. Andrew scooping up after seeing that Air Balloon being drawn out of the deck and just knowing what was going to happen next. I mean, there was only 1 prize card left to be taken there from Zakary. So I think scooping up here is definitely the way to go, and just getting into another round here after Zakary takes that incredible win there. Kyurem VMAX taking a 1-hit knockout on a super powerful Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX with 320 HP. That was incredible to see, Chip.
And super, good lines, I think, from Andrew in the end of that game. His start was so bad, but he identified a path to possibly get back in. And there is a world where Zakary maybe doesn't find Irida off of the Roxanne, doesn't find the way to retreat, and Andrew, by using that Astral Barrage, is able to just spread enough damage, build up enough of a board in order to start swinging for big KOs and find a way back into that game. Didn't quite work out in this instance, but he played to his outs, which you love to see.
Yeah, definitely. Roxanne is always a risky play. There's those players out there that just say, Roxanne is a lie,
I've heard that many times.
It never works in their favor, and unfortunately, that is how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Roxanne can either work very well for you or be very unfortunate because your opponent draws into exactly what they need. So here we go, setting up for our second game here between these brothers. That is just such an awesome storyline to follow. So good to see some Pokemon being played between 2 brothers. I love to see a, Chip.
And I could see after the game as well, they were kind of talking and discussing. Makes me wonder if they're just talking about the game. Maybe I could have done this differently.
Yeah.
What do you think about this play? Stuff like that. So you can see the camaraderie here, the brotherhood absolutely at play in this spot. We're getting into game number 2. Andrew Krekeler drawing for turn, will be going first and has a much better start here with the Shadow Rider Keller XV in the active.
Yeah, and then first benching that Radiant Gardevoir and then just passing it back over to Zakary after that manual attach as well. Zakary starting off with a Capacious Bucket, searching out 2 water cards from the, or water energy from the deck here, and starting with a Drapion V in the active position for Zakary. So a little bit of swapped roles here.
Yeah, Drapion is an excellent tech for the meta. Mew is pretty popular at this tournament. And you would think, oh, it's a darkness-type Pokemon, and Andrew's entire deck is weak to dark. But Drapion takes 4 energies whenever it's not hitting into a Rapid Strike, Single Strike, or Fusion Strike deck. So it's unlikely we'll see Zakary powered up in this game. It may end up actually just becoming a liability, something that he doesn't want to have in play. It's going to clog his bench up, and it could theoretically be an easy 2 prizes later down the line for his brother Andrew. Yeah,
that definitely could be a little bit of Shadow Rider Keller X VMAX fodder there in that Drapion, making work of a Pokemon that usually you are scared of because it has weakness on you, but might just turn the tables there. But we did see that Battle VIP pass from Zakary. Of course, a great way to start off the turn, searching out those 2 basic Pokemon, and then we're going to see the Greninja, Radiant Greninja, drawing 2 cards off of its ability after discarding that water energy. Training Court comes into play, retrieving back that water energy, and it's going to be manually attached here to that Kyurem V on the bench.
And an Escape Rope is going to mess things up a little bit for Andrew. He does not want this Radiant Gardevoir in the active spot. Not really meant as an attacker, though I will say I was watching one of Andrew's games earlier on, and he did attack with his Radiant Gardevoir into a Miltank. So it is something you can utilize, but in this matchup, definitely not. Zakary, though, does go for the Rapid Freeze on the Kyurem in order to accelerate energies to hand, and that makes this active Kyurem V such a big threat next turn.
Oh my goodness. You love to see it when the V actually gets some play here with those moves. That is awesome. So we are back over on Andrew's side. We did see that Professor's Research into a fresh 7 cards, Fog Crystal going in, allowing you to draw out a basic Psychic Pokemon or basic Psychic Energy of your choice.
I absolutely love cards like this because they are so versatile. It can either help you get your board set up with Pokemon, and it works so well in a deck like this because once you're set up, it just becomes an out to an energy card for you to accelerate with Underworld Door and boost that Max Geist damage.
Definitely. It's great to just search it out, thin your deck, and not only that, but it draws you into 2 more cards essentially with that Underworld Door, like you just said, Chip. So that is huge. Great card. It's just nice seeing some Psychic cards down here, Chip.
I feel like it's been a while, yeah.
I mean, I guess Mew.
Yeah, but I don't
we don't count Mew there.
Sometimes I don't even think about that as like a Psychic TCG deck because it's just going in with the double turbo energies. You know, this feels much more like the good old Psychic decks that we love to see.
Yeah, I agree. No hate there on Mew, but yeah, that's definitely true, I think, Chip. All right, here we go. So we did see that Underworld Door ability come into play here, attaching that Psychic Energy, drawing into those 2 extra cards. And this deck is very much a powerful engine here. If it's set up properly and early enough, it becomes kind of a train that just keeps chugging along. And of course, that VMAX, the Calyrex VMAX doesn't have to discard the energy like some decks do and like this Kyurem VMAX does. It just hits for more damage per Psychic Energy that is out there. So that is definitely super relevant there too. We did see that Ultra Ball discarding 2 cards, discarding the Pumpkaboo as well in those 2 cards, and searching out that Espeon V and benching it as well for Andrew.
I think Andrew would love to have gotten another Shadow Rider here, but the 3rd copy is in the prize cards. He does just play a 3/3 line, so it's going to have to be Espeon for now, and just a pass over to Zakary's side.
All right, so Zakary starting off the turn here again. Still only a Kyurem V in the active position. Not a VMAX yet, but here we go. Crobat V being played, drawing up to 6 cards in the hand into 2 Pokemon here. The Kyurem VMAX, of course, being evolved almost immediately.
And that is a huge draw as Zakary was able to get into the VMAX, had the boss's orders in hand already, can bring up this Espeon and just take 2 prizes this turn, discarding 2 energies from this active, and he's going to strike first in this game too once again.
Whew. There we go. 2 water energy being moved into the discard pile to take that Espeon V out. So was once a backup attacker for Andrew and is now just being sacrificed to the discard pile pretty much, unfortunately. And now we're back over on Andrew's side here, starting off, choosing to bench that Luminion and search out a supporter card here for Andrew. What do you think Andrew's going for here, Chip?
Could just grab a research, dump the hand, and try to keep setting up. Maybe go for something like the Adventurer's Discovery, try to get an Arceus established. You know, using that Starbirth V-Star power is a great way to find yourself a way back into a game. And then, of course, there's always the disruption choice of the Marnie. Try to slow Zakary down. The one problem with that, though, is I would say Zakary, besides getting a knockout last turn, really didn't do much. Didn't set up another attacker, never used Glaciated World, doesn't have an Oranguru in play, didn't even use concealed cards. So doesn't want to go with the disruption route, and Andrew's going to just try to get his board a little bit more established, grabbing out 3 Pokemon V, it seems, with this Adventurer's Discovery.
Yeah, definitely. And also just thinning through the deck here as well with that Adventurer's Discovery. That is definitely one effect of the card to have. So just searching through the deck, grabbing that Crobat, the Arc V, and a VMAX, that Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX off of that Adventurer's Discovery supporter card. So that is our supporter for turn. So we will see what is left in the hand for Andrew to continue this turn, evolving, of course, into that Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. 2 potential underworld doors here. We did see that first one being activated. Of course, it only attaches energy to the benched Pokemon. So that is definitely something to note here. There's the second underworld door, drawing into 2 more cards here for Andrew. Just working through that deck.
Trying to get through the deck, trying to find some pieces. It's going to have to be a 2-hit knockout on this active Kyurem. Can't really reach for a 1-hit KO. Can disrupt things a little bit, though, by using the new Lost Vacuum in order to Lost Zone a card from your hand and allowing yourself to Lost Zone, in this case, a Stadium card from Zachary's side of the field.
Yeah, definitely. So, of course, the Lost Zone is not just for Lost Zone decks, you know.
No.
You have a Lost Zone now, all of us as Pokemon players. So, Zakary now having 1 card in that Lost Zone there, even though it doesn't really play into Zachary's deck here.
Yeah, each player with a card in the Lost Zone now.
Yeah, that's
Sending
true.
Sending the Training Court and that Espeon.
Yes, that Espeon. Yeah, because, of course, you have to Lost Zone a card in order to play the card itself, the Lost Vacuum. So here we go. Zakary playing that Capacious Bucket, searching out those energies. And we're just starting to see the engine of Zachary's deck here going. You know, we did see, I think, multiple Melanies as well in the last game.
Right.
Super powerful card in this deck. Not only are you able to accelerate energy with that Oranguru, the Primate Wisdom ability as well, but of course Melanie drawing you into cards, accelerating energy is huge in here too. So you can really just stack that damage with Kyurem VMAX if you need to.
A couple of energies now grabbed. We have not seen Zakary yet get an Oranguru in play, something I'm sure he would love to find. Ultra Ball there off of the concealed cards could help him get there.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say if there's any Battle VIP, that's easy fodder there, but
right, easy discard choices.
I don't think I saw any Ultra Balls still being able to be played. I think there's 3 Melanies in the hands potentially.
Quite
there.
a few. This deck definitely really loves to play a lot of copies of that card.
Absolutely, and we are going to be seeing it played right now. So activating that Melanie, attaching water energy from the discard pile to that active Kyurem VMAX, and then drawing into 3 more cards. Battle VIP was one of those cards drawn into that we were just talking about, but of course, it's kind of just discard fodder at this point, which we could see because Ultra Ball still is in hand for Zakary. But we might just see something else here happen too. Oh, and it looks like Zakary also is playing that Empoleon V. I didn't even see that in the list before. There's 2 in here.
Yeah, got a couple copies of that ready for those Lost Box decks. Ultra Ball here can pitch the Empoleon as it's not useful in this matchup.
Of course.
And let's see if Zakary goes for the Oranguru, or will he need to establish another Pokemon? It's going to be the Origin Form Palkia V-Star. I think he'd also love to get down another Kyurem V this turn because his active Kyurem VMAX is definitely going to be getting knocked out on the following turn.
Yeah, definitely. You want to make sure you're establishing your recovery options here, especially because Kyurem VMAX is one of your essential options to accelerating your energy as well. So we are seeing Rotom Phone.
Ooh, I think Zakary really wanted to find an energy off of that Rotom Phone to power up the Glaciated World, get an extra energy into play, but he doesn't find a single copy there from this phone.
Yeah, that is definitely unfortunate. Trying to make that difficult decision right now. Looking at the hand, switching back to looking at the options from the Rotom phone. Andrew reading the Palkia V-Star right now as well. The text on there. So deciding what to get here, energy retrieval, choice belt.
I think what Andrew is maybe checking is just making sure, okay, Origin Form Palkia can only accelerate energies to water Pokemon, right?
Yes.
In fear, of course, that Drapion could just get powered up instantly. Yes, it does indeed say it has to go to water Pokemon. So Drapion, not going to be very useful at all.
Yeah, that is a huge thing you definitely don't want to read over. That is for sure.
Absolutely.
If we start seeing water energies attached to that Drapion, that would be definitely interesting. Something we'd for sure have to stop there. But okay, here we go. So Zakary making that decision of the Rotom phone and now just glancing back at the hand here. What else can happen? Such a whiff from that water energy not being able to be retrieved there, and now just deciding what else to do in this turn.
He's one damage modifier away from getting a KO on this active Shadow Rider. He can get 4 energies on it thanks to the Star Portal V-Star power. Oh, but does have one to attach from turn still, so he could go for the one-hit KO this turn if he wanted to. Does need to discard all 5 of these energies to do that, thanks to the Loving Veil of the Radiant Gardevoir on the bench. This is a bunch of energies going down, but it's what he needed to do to get this 3-prize KO.
Wow.
And that's exactly what Zakary is going to go for.
So we did see a lot of resources used there in that turn. Of course, that Star Portal ability has been activated now, no longer of use for the rest of this game here. But that Kyurem V did hit the bench as well for Zakary. So that is now in play and able to be evolved into next turn. So that is definitely recovery options there. So now we're back over on Andrew's side, starting with an Ultra Ball, discarding 2 cards and searching out a Pokemon from the deck.
I think what Zakary is maybe hoping to do on the next turn is get 3 energies onto a Kyurem VMAX while it's on the bench, and then play an escape rope. Force this big VMAX Pokemon out of the active side from Andrew. And Andrew doesn't seem to think there's a path back into this one.
There
Extends the hand and scoops it up. And we see Zakary Krekeler taking a 2-0 victory with Kyurem VMAX.
Congratulations to Zakary. You know, I'm sure reaching out your hands, conceding the game is probably not too hard when it's your brother that you know is taking the win. Of course, I'm sure both these brothers want each other to succeed in this tournament today, and it's great to see such camaraderie between them while they're signing this slip and chatting away. So nice. But yes, definitely congratulations to Zakary here, showing the strength of Kyurem VMAX. You know, Chip, we were chatting about, you know, what would you play to this event if we weren't casting here today, if we were playing? And I said I'd probably play Kyurem because I just think it's a fun deck to play. You know, I love a Rangaroo as well. Any deck that's playing my little Rangaroo is awesome. But what did you think about those 2 decks, Chip? Seeing them in action.
Going in, I definitely thought that Andrew was going to be the favored player there, just because Shadow Rider has theoretically a much easier time to one-hit KO an opposing VMAX, though it does take a few more turns. But one of the big things, though, we never saw Andrew establish an Arceus V-Star in that game. To use that Starbirth V-Star power, and honestly, more importantly, to get off a Trinity Nova, attack, throw some damage in play, and accelerate 3 Psychic Energies out of the deck to help power up the Max Geist and make it swing for big numbers a little bit quicker than it normally would be able to. Just wasn't quite able to get there, and I think that was really the story of that game, is some unfortunate draws and unfortunate setup for Andrew.
Yeah, that is definitely true, because that is something you don't really consider as often, I guess, when you see these different Arceus builds that, you know, okay, I'm using Arceus to power up, but it's also one of my attackers too to get some damage out there as well. That's huge in these decks. So when you didn't get to see that at all there for Andrew, that can definitely be a sticky situation. But still, great matches between those brothers. It was awesome to see both decks. Of course, Shadow Rider coming back at